tuko na watu 4 5 ambao ni wanasumbua katika Nyeri. Wanatoa ethanol huko Nairobi na sehemu zingine wanaleta hapa. Wakati crackdown ikifanyika wanakimbia na nyuki, na kama vile umesema tumekundua pia kwamba kuna maafisa kadha wa serikali wanahusika, mapolisi hapa na pale, administrators hapa na pale, watu wa KEBS, watu wa KRA, na kila wakati tunapopata ripoti ya ujasusi kuhusiana na hiyo tayari tunafanya mabadiliko yanayofaa, na maafisa wanaohusika pia huwa wanaadhibiwa penye tunajua kwamba tuna ushahidi wa kutosha. Lakini ningependa kusema kwamba kwa ile mikakati tumeweka leo, niko na imani ya kwamba tutaendelea kudhibiti shida hii, na unajua itaisha siku moja, so lazima kila siku ofisa ya serikali lazima wachangamke kila siku. Ni vita ya kila wakati.
Good evening, Waziri. My name is Wahu Nguge, Kameme TV and Nyeri Mohoro News Hub.
Ujambo Waziri, jina langu ni Edwin Mbogwa kutoka runinga K24.
Good evening, Mr. CS. My name is Steven Munyere. I work for National Media Group.
Okay, and Waziri, 4 months after you are appointed as the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Interior, you launched Jukwaa la Usalama on 8th April. Maybe you can highlight some of the successes that you've been able to achieve and some of the similar issues that you've been able to come across in all the regions, Nyeri being the 32nd forum.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the media houses represented here and those who are watching us online for this great opportunity to engage you. And thank you for the opportunity we had today in Nyeri. This is the 32nd county we are visiting from the 7th of April when we started in Mombasa. So it's been 4 months plus of visiting various counties. Not been easy, having meetings that span up to 10 hours a day. So we can estimate that we have been doing meetings and engagements that span up to 320 hours for the last 4 months. And I must say thank you very much for the opportunity. In terms of the impact of Jukwaa la Usalama, I think it has exceeded my expectations. Initially, I thought it was just going to be a familiarization forum. Intention was just to be for listening. But I'm surprised that we've been able to do things. We've been able to impact government policy in a big way, bigger than I thought initially. Let me say that for every region we have visited or a county we visited, we've been able to sort out the problems of that county. Because we go with either the IG or DIG, a number of the issues raised in various counties is about human resource organization, organization of the human resource and the performance of the officers. Both the NGA officers, whether it is county commissioner, deputy county commissioner, or police officers. In fact, where we get some level of notoriety in terms of reporting of performance of a particular officer, it's usually a red flag and an indicator that there is a problem in some corner. So from coast, we were able to deal with the issue of Panga Boys in a manner that at the moment that issue is fairly contained. We were able to deal with issues to do with drugs and drug abuse in that region. If you come to counties like in some parts also of the of Lower Eastern, we're able to deal with various issues. A lot of crackdown on and arrests and charging of people on sexual offenses, for example, in places like makwiny, where I revisited recently on a different social function, and people were appreciating that since we went there, the officers have been able to do a good job, crackdown of ethanol, adulterated ethanol, and so forth. In the Upper Eastern, you can see the work that is going on in terms of the operation to deal with drugs and trafficking in human beings. In fact, we can almost successfully say that this Marsabit corner has fairly been closed from traffickers. We have contained it. You can see the silence in Kerio Valley because of the strategies we put in place. We were losing lives every day in Kerio Valley at least. Now we're making very good progress. A number of criminals have been arrested. Taken to court. Number of guns have been collected from these criminals. Some have also surrendered voluntarily. If you go to Rift Valley, there are a number of places, particularly Kitale, Wazingishu, and now Nakuru, where we have had to upscale our crackdown on matters adulterated alcohol, second-generation alcohol, illicit brews, and also drugs. As a matter of fact, Kitale is the leading county in terms of abuse of substance, either whether it is drugs or alcohol. And as a result of our visit we've done, every part we've gone, as a cabinet secretary, first of all, it is moving the office to the ground. So I have had very good engagement with people who would have otherwise asked for an appointment to come and see me in Nairobi. I have gone, and we have gone with a huge team to the ground, and then understood the problem of that area, and then solve some of the problems. So a lot of reorganization of human resource has happened in the last 4 months, courtesy of our first-hand experience with the actors. Now, in terms of policy, we've been able to fast-track the policy on issues to do with NPR management, because those are issues that were raised on the ground. And now we are about to finalize this issue of reorganization of the National Police Reservists. We've been able to do a CAB memo on village elders, which I have signed. It is now before Treasury, and then it will go to Attorney General's office, and then I will table it in the cabinet with a plan to see how we reorganize the village elders. We've been able to reorganize the welfare of the officers. When we started Jukwa, the assistant county commissioners were not being, a number of them were yet to complete their training and promoted. They were trained, 800 of them graduated, and the president came for their graduation, and thereafter they were promoted. 300 are awaiting training. Chiefs who have not been trained 20 years, 30 years, for the first time now going back to the training, and they are in APTC. 1,000 are there, another 1,000 going next month. We intend to target 8,200 to organize chiefs and assistant chiefs. We've been able also to come up with policy directions on management of the police officers, shortening the time, ensuring that transfers are done in a particular short time. Promotions for officers who have stagnated. You are 50 and you are a constable, or you've been a constable for more than 15 years without promotion. We've now put in place that policy directive, that all of them be promoted on merit. Or you know, a corporal who has been also there in one position for 15 years to be promoted, or the inspector of police who has been in office for 10 years without promotion. So all these are products of direct engagement with the officers. In fact, the procurement we are doing now for vehicles and motorcycles is meant to address these issues. The issues to do with construction of police stations. Police stations are the. I am glad I have went to some of these counties to see with my own eyes the infrastructure that we have for Ngao and for police. I was shocked in Tana River. In Tana River, they are almost like they have no office, you know. Neither do they have county offices nor police or anything. And so it helps, and then you go to some counties and they have very good offices. So you see the inequality also that happens in our nation. And so this has been an eye-opener, a very good opportunity to engage and resolve issues that are affecting Kenya in every part of the country. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insight. Maybe we can move on to Clement.
Yeah, quite progressive, quite commendable job, Waziri. But then the residents of Muranga Kenol Blue Post area are asking themselves whether someone in the ministry is deliberately trying to sabotage your work, because it's now the second day since you issued a directive on matters to do with the Del Monte Kakuzi land, the issue that has been there, the issue of insecurity, and nothing seems to have happened. So the question is, perhaps, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the directives that you issue at Jukwaa la Usalama are actually adhered to?
Well, maybe to help, I think, Clement, it will help us to be very specific on what has happened in the 2 days in Del Monte, because then I don't want to make a generalized response. What do you mean what has happened in the last 2 days?
Yeah, the directive that you issued concerning those who illegally occupy the land, that they should vacate. They are still on the same pieces of land.
Thank you. Now, I basically directed that the police must ensure that theft, which was happening in Del Monte and Kakuzi, is dealt with. As for people who could be occupying land already, that matter cannot be resolved by a directive alone. You have to engage the people to understand what they're happening, and I don't think you understood me on that. I didn't talk about the things we do. Yeah, the same way when the president berates those in the cabinet, PSS, and he has said it so many times. He is trying to forestall a situation where people are clever in the manner in which they steal money and may he may not have the enough evidence to take it to a court of law. I am not president's lawyer on this matter, but this is how best I would approach this matter.
Yeah. Waziri, I'll take you back to a matter you promised to get back to us. With the issue of Hillside and Darasha.
The settlement itself, those people who are settling inside, those who are settling inside could have land-related disputes, including this group that was claiming also parcel of land known as what do we call Residents Association of Kandara Residents Association. You know, we have a policy also in government that you can't just wake up one morning and evict people, so there has to be an engagement. But what particularly I was concerned is incitement by leaders for young people and citizens to go and steal from the Del Monte and Kakuzi and invade it. And then I said that they should work together with the lands ministry to resolve the land-related issues. And I remember I made it clearly that we believe that issues of land can be resolved peacefully without resorting to violence. Ours as the Ministry of Interior is to provide, through the IGs, to provide security even when such conflicts are being resolved. So I would be concerned if there are people who still are going to steal from the farm with without restraint, and if the police officers were not able to contain people who are going to the farm to steal. What I was warning our leaders against is the politics of populism that target investors because it's counterproductive, particularly because, you know, these are big farms that are contributing to the economy of Murang'a, Machakos, Kiambu, and the rest of the country.
Thank you, Waziri. You alleged that there is resurgence of Mugiki in the region. Do you have
And then the 7/7 protests, we saw a phenomenon that was not familiar in this region, banning of police stations from Kikuyu, in Dagoretti police station in Kikuyu, and then the banning of the court in Kikuyu, banning of the administrative units, banning of police station in Olkalau, banning of supermarkets in Nyeri here, twice actually, looting businesses, looting of supermarket here, not banning, but banning of the supermarket in Meru, banning of buildings in OTC. But I'm not talking about even the Nairobi incident. Just think about Central Thika, lootings that happened in Thika almost a whole night up to, and so forth. So there has been, and when you follow up, most of the arrested people were operating in sort of a gang with sort of leadership that is, I cannot say it is, the leadership is national in nature or basically all county-wide in nature, but you can see pockets of young people grouped together and gang activities coming in, and during Mandamano, you could see the level of the behavior of those who are engaged in this. And in Olkalau, during our Jukwaa la Usalama, most of the people say that they weren't really coming from, they were coming from the next constituencies, counties, and so forth. So, and they came in lorries. For example, people were moved from Limuru to go and burn a police station in Kikuyu in a very organized manner. And you know, we arrested those people and charged them for terror. Despite their all complaints that they have met, we took the legal action to make sure that they are charged. So my message to the people of Mount Kenya is that we have seen what sects and organized gangs can do for community. And in a statement that I saw some people taking out of context, I give credit to President Kibaki and his minister then, John Michuki, for taking a very firm stand against gangs. And I say that as a cabinet secretary, we must learn from those who went before us and understand that if it was not for the sacrifice they made at that point in time to become tough on matter of security, perhaps we would be paying double taxes in such areas like here. You will be paying to an organized criminal gang and at the same time to government. And we don't want to go there just for short-term political interest.
Yeah, Waziri, just to come in on the same, sorry. Of course, as a country, we know where we are headed in about a little and 2 years' time. How deep-rooted is this problem of gangs, and they are used by politicians maybe to score interests? That is the first question. And how deep-rooted is it, or rather dangerous it will be, as we head to the elections?
Sorry, you know, here it's cold, so you can see I'm getting tea. So I hope you don't take any. First, let me say that the problem of gangs is not a Mount Kenya problem. It's a national problem. So let's start with, for me, addressing the problem of gangs here is the same way I did in Kitale. You know, I did exactly the same in Kitale. I did exactly the same in Nakuru, where we know properly documented gangs in Nakuru, where you have names like Confirm, Watizeti, and the like in Nakuru. You know, in Nairobi with gangs like Gaza and the like. And also, of course, there's some splinter groups of former Mungiki and so forth all over the place. We know that Kitengela also faces very serious problems of gangs there. I mentioned the same Panga Boys is a form of a gangs in Coast. There was a time even MRC wanted to rear its head again, and we had to do something about it. We still have some gangs in Kisumu. We have gangs in Mumia. We had to do a lot of work to dismantle. You remember the in Mumias, which was completely disrupted, I think, of a former chief, because let me say this without any fear of contradiction, that there is a correlation between heightened activities of gangs with link to political activities. So as you go closer to elections, Bwana Kamau, the fear is that these gangs, and you know politicians don't want to own them, they want to hire them. So for every assignment, they are putting themselves into at the disposal of political leaders. As long as the highest bidder can pay something, they can come, you know, provide in court security, intimidate your opponents, do the things they need to do to harass people. So the danger is there, and that's why in every of my county visits, particularly in areas where the intelligence report is clear about existence of gangs or gang-like activity or goons, we have been very, very particular in the security meeting to ensure that these people are arrested and charged, and these gangs are dismantled. So we are going, we know we can arrest as many people, but we will go for their leaders. We'll go for the organizers. We'll go for the financiers. And as I was speaking to the chiefs today, I told them we owe it to future generation that we keep the country sane and we keep it together by ensuring that these gangs and goons are not operating freely. There's something that's going on there in Nairobi and Mavoko and the environment, which is not very right. But we have found also that in some of the places where they thrive, there is the support of the security officers. Some of the security officers are complacent. So we have taken legal action against also the security officers and all the collaborators within the security sector so that we can dismantle this. So I want to promise the people of Mount Kenya that we will not rest until we see that these gangs are dismantled completely, but also that we are not going to take for granted the possibility of politicians using it for purpose of next elections. And that's why we have to deal with it now. What I've told the chiefs is that in their chiefs barasas, they must have, because chiefs are locals, assistant chiefs are locals, they come from that community, that they must facilitate a honest conversation within the community as to what do the people want. Do the people want a place where politicians will pay some people, cause chaos, embolden them, and then after elections they become monsters that cannot be controlled within the community? So my message is to feel what the people go through and then to see how best we can reorganize the human resource for proper response. By the time I go to Nairobi, if someone tells me, oh yeah, there is still a problem in Nyeri, I know what be like if I stayed there for the last 4 months just waiting for briefs and making a phone call to county commissioner. So it's important for me to be here to have a personal feel of what's going.
Waziri.
Yes, Minor.
This problem of gangs, I know you know it won't go away if you don't set an example. It's been months since the July protest, the June protests. We've seen a lot of destruction, including the law codes, as you keep on mentioning. But what are you actually doing to bring not only the perpetrators, but even the masterminders, the planners, the politicians that you say? There is no even a single politician has ever been arrested since those, the
Are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm sure, except maybe we saw, for example, in Trans Nzoia, Governor Tembea was brought, but it was a different issue. It was all about, I think, corruption cases. But as far as violence is concerned, destruction of property is concerned, we've not seen them. But we keep on hearing names. But are there investigations going on currently? Are there politicians on police radar as we speak?
Unless you have a particular one in mind. But the truth is that we have a member of parliament of Embu County was taken to court, charged for terror. The member of parliament for Naivasha taken to court. The court stalled the charging process. There has been political activists, a good number of them have been charged for terror. By the way, I can tell you without fear of contradiction that because of what we did what the National Police Service did between 25th of June and 7th of July, there was significant reduction of the planning activities. For example, the burning that happened in Kikuyu and Kiambu never happened after we charged those people between 25th and 7th. And so having arrested 1,500 people and about 500 and something were charged already. So you must give the National Police Service a credit, and of course DPP and the multi-agency team and so forth. A number of people are in court facing serious criminal charges. A few of them are still under investigations, and I believe that as soon as the DCI completes its investigations, and DPP agrees with him or tighten all the parts, more people will be charged. Sometimes, minor, there is something in law that is called adducible evidence. As we speak now, I may know it's you, minor, who did it, and everybody even saw you in Nyeri, that you are the one who did something. But unless we can get evidence, either video or a witness or your bank accounts or whatever. So sometimes the intelligence report may point to you, but until we reach a threshold, because intelligence report cannot stand the test of a court, because it will be argued that it is illegally obtained evidence. So there must be evidence that is admissible in a court of law before you can charge somebody. So we can be all of us sure that so and so. But when I call you and when I call the people who are saying it's Minor who did and tell them to record a statement, they tell you no. Minor has gangs. He may come for us when you are not around. So sometimes you may never get witnesses and so forth. So that delays the process. But I can assure you, many people will be charged in a court of law. And I am almost confident that a good number of them will be convicted because the evidence is overwhelming.
Waziri, maybe in connection to that, leaders, particularly those in the opposition, have accused security agents for allowing goons to attack them in the presence of police officers. Case in point, we saw the group of Cleophas Malala and Tembea being attacked in Chwele, Bungoma County, and they say police are watching as they are being attacked by goons. Perhaps, do you think you owe them an explanation?
Well, I think first, let me say two things. One is that police officers themselves have been attacked. Forget about leaders. We know that police officers have been attacked. As we speak now, a number of our police officers are still on, some of them are in compassionate leave, sort of. Just to cool off before they move to other places. The police officers who are operating in Dagoretti and who are living there, whose houses were completely burned and their wares were burned, a lot of them went into shock because it is civilians who wanted to kill them, these goons. Police officers who are in Olkalao, Ndonyonjeru, for example, are still out there because of what happened. So let me say that, so I don't know, those police officers, whom will they accuse now? Maybe they will accuse the minister that you left us to be attacked by goons. So as a matter of fact, where you face goons, it's not easy to it's very easy to lay blame on the police officers, but it may be important for us to appreciate that some of these organized criminals coming in large numbers, the police officers will have to weigh between a reaction that will lead to death, yeah, and sometimes trying to contain the situation. It is the same people who are saying the police what? It's the same people. If the police touch any one of those goons, these are the same people who are saying the police must be charged and arrested. So the police are got in between, yeah, trying to restrain themselves at the same time enforcing the law. And then, you know, the police also find themselves in between two goons. You want to stop this side, you want to stop this other side, protesters on both sides. So you, in the absence, and this is the point I wanted to make, in the absence of a statement recorded by any of these politicians, then it becomes very difficult for us to know how exactly what we should be able to do. In fact, they should first file a complaint against the goons, if they know them, and provide evidence, and then the police can investigate. Then we establish where the laxity was. But I can tell you for sure, police officers don't go out of their way out there to see that people are harmed, even in their presence.
But to follow up on that, before my friend should say his question, there have been cases of police officers walking hand in hand with people bearing rungus, bearing jembe, whatever you call the batons, even throwing the stones, you know, against the other group of maybe protesters or something like that. How do you explain that?
For cases where a police officer does that, works with goons, they definitely a disciplinary action is taken against them. Where they use excessive force, the IPO is there to investigate. But let me say this, that the police, for example, cannot go and arrest watchmen holding rungus, protecting businesses. Watchman is acceptable in Kenya. They can't go. You can't go to a place where a watchman is holding their rungu, protecting some business somewhere, and tell them that you are criminals, I must arrest you. In the absence of them misusing that rungu to attack somebody else, it's very difficult for a police officer to arrest them. They will be arresting them for what? So you must also separate those issues. For example, there was a case where in one of the protests where businessmen hired watchmen to take care of their shops. I mean, it would be preposterous for a police officer then to avoid the looters and go for these people hired by business people to take care of their business. But where you see a police officer throwing a stone or being with people who are throwing stones, that is an indiscipline. That's a disciplinary issue. And I'm sure that the relevant institutions will carry out disciplinary measures against them. We don't condone. There is no policy in government where police officers will work with gangs or goons. Remember that the same way I'm telling citizens we cannot condone certain behaviors, we can't also condone them in National Police Service. We have the capability and the capacity to protect our country. Sometimes get overwhelmed in terms of response because you want to protect the citizens. Because if you respond, maybe you will have to use a lot of force considering the numbers and so forth. That's why there are crowd control measures that are used, including tear gas, water cannon, and so forth. So it's important to investigate every case for what it is, but not to generalize that the whole National Police Service will have committed something.
Okay. This is a concern. Actually, it concerns the guys who are talking to here. They are concerned about their safety and security during when they are performing their duties. In fact, a number of them here have been victims of recent attacks by the goons, in some instances by the police. So are we safe?
I think the safest people are journalists. Politicians are more in danger than even journalists. I'm saying so because there is a certain level of restraint our police officers have when it comes to journalists. But I know a case, for example, in Nakuru, where a journalist was got in the crossroads. I think a tear gas was lobbied at her directly or something like that. And in that situation, I apologized on behalf of National Police Service and the ministry for the situations that sometimes journalists find themselves in. Today I saw also that regrettably some journalists were really injured in the process of covering some political activity in Nairobi, and so I felt very sad to see some of those people were very injured in the process, and being stoned by thugs. And I hope really we will be lucky to get some of those videos and the evidence using cameras and whatever means, so that DCI can investigate and bring those people to book. Because stoning people who are doing their work is not acceptable. I also want to insist that the media fraternity continue giving journalists in such difficult situations the relevant clothing that identifies them. I think it's of greater help if you wear something like the one mine has written KBC, or written your media houses, and I know the various media houses who are here. I think it's important to have that so that we can identify you. But then sometimes it's also dangerous. If somebody had their own issue with a particular media house, they may also go for the journalist for nothing. But I think it's better to have this close working relationship. The Inspector General of Police has always had an open door policy. I hope that we can have more engagement before protests and even coverage of events like today's. It's important that the local police commander and so forth is aware of where the journalists are, and they are covering their work and protect them. But also it's important for journalists to report these cases. Please be reporting, record formal statement. There was an incident where there was this political party that was being launched in Nairobi. And it was so clear, we could see in all the evidence that who did it and why they did it, and some characters who had guns. But because it was not government, the journalists didn't want to record statement. They refused. They said, they say they will annoy their friends on the opposition side. So I think you need to treat us on both sides equally. If a case involves police officers, report. Like now I'm expecting cases where journalists are attacked by police, it should be reported so that we investigate internally and deal with it. Goons like the one that did today in Nairobi should be reported so that the police can investigate and get the goons. And goons like the one when DCP was launching their party should also be reported. As soon as it became clear that it was an inside job within the party itself, I saw the journalists who were involved ran away. I think treated themselves and prayed for those political parties. So sometimes that habit is then perpetuated if we don't nip it in the bud. And I take it very seriously that anyone would go out of their way to attack a journalist. I think we take that seriously.
Maybe the last one, Waziri, on Gunism. Today we saw the former deputy president when he was coming back to the country. He was attacked. Shall we see any action from the police to maybe arrest those who attacked the convoy? And in fact, some journalists the car they were using was destroyed.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, because I watched it, that a number of the journalists were hurt. Not just the car destroyed. I saw very deep cuts on a number of them who were covering the event, and I expected that all instances will be investigated involving all the parties that are involved. I also want to say that even for, and this, as I said, regardless of regardless of the persons involved. I'm being confused by someone who used to say regardless. Regardless of the persons involved, I am expecting that, all these people will come out to record statement and then investigated by the police, and people will be brought to justice. I also expected, I'm not very sure because I haven't received the full brief, but the level of, we need to respect our airport, yeah, generally. We are at a certain standard in the airport where we have signed to certain protocols that enables us to fly directly to various countries in Europe, US, and so forth. So it's important not to make our airport center for political activities. And I expected a certain level of decorum among our leaders and aspirants and Kenyans when they went to the airport. That again is an issue that must be dealt with going forward, because we don't want our airport to become a center for ridicule globally in terms of security protocols on the use of the airport. But other than that, I don't know. Why was someone stoning that convoy? First of all, it was not a threat to anything. Yeah, it was not. There were not many people. You know, and even assuming even there were many people, they were not disrupting anything. You know, it was. I mean, I thought the goons that threw stones were actually totally misguided. I'm sure that it was, as has been in Nairobi in the past, it must have been this competition among political groupings in the city, and it was not necessary because that was a very small event that did not require that level of attention. I was surprised actually earlier when you people asked me that there was a heavy deployment, and I thought, heavy deployment for what? That was a small thing that didn't require that level of attention. Thank you.
Okay, Waziri, we can move on.
Shukrani sana waziri, ningeomba niweze kurejelea swala ambalo uliangazia mapema leo kuhusiana na utengenezaji na usambazaji wa pombe haramu pamoja na dawa za kulevya. Swali kuu ambalo linaibuliwa ni kuwa ama hofu kuu miongoni mwa wananchi imekuwepo ni kukamatwa kwa washukiwa, ila licha ya kuwepo kwa ushahidi wa kutosha, kesi hizi zinaishia tu pale katika vituo vya polisi. Swali kuu likibuliwa, huenda kukakuwepo na ushirikiano kati ya washukiwa hawa pamoja na vitengo vya usalama. Na je, kama wizara mnafanya nini kuweza kuhakikisha changamoto imesuluhishwa na vile vile kulinda imani ya vitengo vya utawala?
Kwanza ningependa kusema kwamba ninashukuru sana wafanyikazi wa serikali katika kaunti ya Swa, katika idara ya usalama, kwa vile wameweza kupambana na shida ya pombe na wamedhibiti kwa njia kuu sana. Ukijua kwamba miaka chache iliyopita kaunti hii ilikuwa na shida kubwa ya mambo ya pombe haramu, lakini hivi sasa ni county number 41, 41 out of 47 kwa ile counties, top counties. Ukihesabu kutoka juu kuja chini, Nyeri ni 41. Ukilinganisha na county kama Trans Nzoia ambaye ni number 1, Kakamega number 2, Kisumu number 3, Nairobi. Hapa Nyeri mambo mengi yamefanywa yanahusu polisi, machifu, idara ya nakada, kushirikiano na KRA na KEBS pamoja na county government, hata county lawyers. County hii imesaidia, so kazi mingi imefanyika. Yenye inabidi tufanye ni kuhakikisha kwamba tunaendeleza hiyo vita dhidi ya pombe haramu. Na kwa kwangu hapa ni kuwatia moto na changamoto kwao, kuhakikisha kwamba wanapambana na kazi hiyo. Kiswahili na changanya kidogo, lakini kuhakikisha kwamba hii kazi inaweza wasonga mbele. Tuko na watu 4 5 ambao ni wanasumbua katika Nyeri. Wanatoa ethanol huko Nairobi na sehemu zingine wanaleta hapa. Wakati crackdown ikifanyika wanakimbia na nyuki Na kama vile umesema, tumekundua pia kwamba kuna maafisa kadha wa serikali wanahusika, mapolisi hapa na pale, administrators hapa na pale, watu wa KEBS, watu wa KRA, na kila wakati tunapopata ripoti ya ujasusi kuhusiana na hiyo, tayari tunafanya mabadiliko yanayofaa, na maafisa wanaohusika pia huwa wanaadhibiwa penye tunajua kwamba tuna ushahidi wa kutosha. Lakini ningependa kusema kwamba kwa ile mikakati tumeweka leo, niko na imani ya kwamba tutaendelea kudhibiti shida hii, na unajua haitaisha siku moja, so lazima kila siku ofisa ya serikali lazima wachangamke kila siku. Ni vita ya kila wakati. Uki something about it, and we request that we support each other to as Kenyans to provide information, and I really hope that DCI will catch up with this person. So that's where we are. That's where we are. That's where we are, and it's a very sad story. It's one of those things that you want, even if you're in National Police Service, to dispense with and do it successfully, because it's an embarrassment in the first place that he killed so many people without anyone noticing. Then now he runs away. I mean, despite the fact that we thought he was mentally deranged, he still manages to escape from custody. It is something that's of great concern. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Waziri?
Well, I just want to say that it's been my greatest pleasure to be in Mount Kenya despite the very cold weather, which is unusually very cold at this point in time. The 4 days have been very successful. We believe that tomorrow will also be successful, the 5th day, and I believe that Jukwaa la Usalama will make a big difference in our country. I believe that the decisions we've made today are going to make security in this county better, and I look forward to a more energized human resource, our officers on the ground, for having had time to sit with them. This is bottom-up leadership governance, where the chiefs and the assistant chiefs and OCSs and the rest of the security team, plus the citizens, were airing their issues of what we need to do for them in their own county, and I am confident that this will give us great results. We hope to start tomorrow very early, because we want to have good time to watch Harambee Stars tomorrow at 5. Please, let's rally together to support our team from whatever corners will be. Those who manage to get tickets and they are going to be in Kasarani, we believe that they will do the greatest shouting. I'm hoping to join them, and in every match I've always lost my voice, so I hope we will shout as much as possible to support our team to become successful, but also that we will observe the law like we did in the last match. That will give us, we are now at 80% capacity Kasarani. I am confident that tomorrow we'll succeed. We will be at how much? 100% in the semi-finals. Oh no, sorry, semi-finals is not in Nairobi. Wherever we shall go for semi-finals, I hope. I don't know. Are we going to Tanzania? I think we're going to Uganda. Uganda for the semis. Yeah, I think Uganda for the semis. We don't want to meet Tanzania yet. The best thing that will happen for Kenya and Tanzania, and the match that will be very interesting, is to have Tanzania in the finals. So we also wish Tanzania all the best tomorrow. Hopefully they can make it to semis and then to finals, so that we have a very, very enjoyable match in Kasarani. I don't know. I don't know how we will control. I don't know how we will control the people who will go to the stadium, because that will be really a cracker, you know. And I know why you are laughing. I also know that Uganda is not a joke. For those of you who saw the Uganda match, they made a very serious comeback, especially against South Africa. So Uganda don't. I don't know what will happen to us if we meet Uganda in Mandela Stadium in Kampala. That will be really a big challenge for us, but also a very interesting match for us. So either way, we might not miss one of our neighbors, either Uganda or Tanzania. So and that is fun. I saw some people after my jokes last night about Tanzania. I saw some of my friends who are a bit angry about it. But this is the good thing about sports. It's fun. I have played against Tanzania before, members of parliament, and it's a lot of fun. I have personal friends in Tanzania, and I'm sure they really wanted Kenya. They didn't want Morocco. But Mungu ni nani? So, but we wish them well. We wish each one of us well. This has been an amazing tournament organized by 3 countries, and this is just but the curtain raiser. 2027 AFCON is the real deal, and we in the security sector really support sports. Where I spoke last night is we were fundraising for our new team to the Premier League, the APS, the Administration Police Service team of Bomet, which has joined the Kenya Police Service team, which was the Premier League champions. So we believe in sports as a way of dealing with mental health and also bringing people together. We shall be in Baringo on Saturday, where communities that have been fighting are going to play with police officers. Thanks to Operation Malisa Walivu, we are making a very good progress. So sports is fantastic. And I am an ardent sports fan, especially football. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Asante sana.
Asante sana Waziri for your time. Thank you.
Trafficking in women for sex and children and so forth, without even having to pick the wrong people, without having to pick those particular people in Mai. So unfortunately, they were duped, for economic gain, and I believe that people will be charged in a court of law for falsifying information and providing false information. So it's just a matter of time. I don't think it's even months. It must be weeks.
All right. Thank you, Waziri. And speaking of
I mean, if it was the DCI carrying out the investigation, probably I would be in the know. It's EACC that is involved in investigating all these issues, and I am sure that when the time comes, depending on the evidence they have collected, people will be able to answer for their mistakes. Maybe I need to wade into this topic a little bit. I know the risk that comes with it because of the public outcry. I personally believe that what the president said never pointed a finger to anybody on a particular person. Yeah, he spoke about an institution. Now the same president has berated us before as cabinet secretaries, openly in the media, and said some of you are stealing, some of you are doing this, and he did that even a year ago. I knew for sure it wasn't me because I know myself, okay? So there was no need for me to say, Mr. President, why are you harassing all the cabinet? Why don't you pick that person? Because what I told you earlier, okay? Sometimes at the level of a president, you have intelligence about what's happening. But intelligence alone cannot stand the test of a court of law. So you cannot arrest someone based on the intelligence you have, because you have not been able to piece together, you cannot convert that intelligence into an evidence that can stand the test of a court of law. So what happens? Because you are in the know as a president, yeah, then you use that information to warn those who are in that business. Perhaps, at least if you don't achieve conviction, you achieve deterrence. That is how I take it. For example, let me give the example. As a cabinet secretary in charge of security, sometimes we get information that it is suspected that so-and-so sells bullets. Yeah? It's suspected that so-and-so sells guns. Okay? But we haven't really got him in the act directly, but we think. What do I do as a cabinet secretary? When I hold a barasa there, I say, some of you are selling guns. Then people say, why are you saying some of us, why don't you arrest them? I cannot arrest because I will arrest, it will be at a loss. There is no, I don't have the evidence to stand the test of court of law. But the knowledge I have is sufficient enough to warn them against engage. And then, of course, we put them under surveillance to make sure that we are following until the day we nab them, either with a gun or with a bullet. So if you ask me, as a member, former member of parliament, and a senator for that matter, if I was in the shoes of our colleagues, I would take it positively and say, well, there must be some information the president has. That information may not be actionable in a court of law, but it's sufficient for us to introspect and look at ourselves and say, what other measures can we put in place to ensure that there is proper transparency in the things we do? Yeah, the same way when the president berates those in the cabinet, PSS, and he has said it so many times, he is trying to forestall a situation where people are clever in the manner in which they steal money, and he may not have the enough evidence to take it to a court of law. I am not president's lawyer on this matter, but this is how best I would approach this matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waziri, I'll take you back to a matter you promised to get back to us with the issue of Hillside and Darasha. In about 15 days, the parents there will be making, or rather, having a memorial of the children that lost their lives there. The DCI has been at it for close to a year now. Where are we with that? What happened? Parents need answers. And then I'll tie these with what is happening down at the Kenya's coast in Kilifi. There is this issue ambayo iko kule kwa Binzaro, the graves that are being discovered there. Is there a correlation of the activity right now to what Mackenzie is said to have been doing? And is there communication from Mackenzie, as is being alleged, from his cell, wherever he is, to the outside world, continuing the work that he used to do?
I think I'll ask my people here to give me the final information. You know, remember we are kept in the place up to 7 p.m. so I wasn't able to get the feedback, but they can prepare before we finish the interview Possibly I'll get some information. But even as we wait for that, as a matter of fact, the question of Endarasha and the DCI investigation together with Ministry of Education, particularly on the that thing is very painful. You know, something that involves kids is very, very, very sad. On the compliance of the institution with the security, what do we call, disaster management rules and so forth. Maanani sana tunajisumbua. Sometimes, let me say this, sometimes, you know, the statements that people make about your country is very embarrassing. And sometimes you may actually be really berating an individual or a leader on an issue only for you to establish that, oh yeah, he was not of sound mind. So there is no need to insist that someone must do this. Sometimes it must be a mental health issue.
Kwa hivyo waziri, iwapo Rigathigachagua hataweza kujitokeza na kuandikisha taarifa, ataruhusiwa kuendeleza kueneza taarifa hizi ambazo anazitoa?
Unajua, mimi sijui kwa sababu mimi sina, kwanza hakuna Mkenya na hakuna binadamu dunia hii anaweza jua huyo bwana atasema nini leo na aseme nini kesho. Anaweza sema leo jua itatokea magharibi na kesho iseme mashariki. So tutaishi tu hivyo kwa sababu nyinyi hamjui shida yenye rais amepitia kwa miaka iliyopita. Nyinyi sasa muonje kama wananchi, mtazungushwa kabisa kutoka kona hii kona ile. Mara leo Uhuru ni mzuri, Uhuru kesho ni mbaya, Ruto ni mzuri, kesho ni mbaya. Matiang'i ni wa serikali leo, kesho yako na sisi. So itakuwa ni mtazungushwa hapa na mpaka uwezi jua uongo ni gani, uzuri ni gani. Sisi tumeona mengi. So saa zingine mimi ukiuliza, yani kibinafsi na sio as a cabinet secretary, kibinafsi nitasema kwamba ndugu yetu anahitaji usaidizi zaidi kuliko vile tunajaribu kumpigia kelele. Kwa sababu ukiona mtu wako tayari kuchoma nchi kwa mambo kidogo kidogo, unaona kwamba ni pengine yeye anahitaji usaidizi zaidi. Kama vile tulikuwa tunaongelelea mambo ya mental health issues kwa hapa mashinani, hizo ndio mambo ambayo perhaps our brother may need some help. Kwa ile swali nimepewa habari, kwa ile swali mmeniuliza ile ya Endarasha ya kwamba the statement here says that the file was forwarded to ODPP, who directed that an inquest be conducted, and the same has duly been registered before the Nyeri courts, Chief Magistrates Court. So I think we should be able to hear from the Chief Magistrates Court so that an inquest is carried out and as per the directions of the DPP. Thank you.
Maybe Waziri, you've talked about the achievement za jukwaa la usalama, but you have an issue in Mandera, the ongoing conflict between the Somali federal government and the Jubiland forces. They're affecting residents there. And last week we saw there's a woman who died after stepping on IED. And we saw Adan Khalif, governor for Mandera, calling on the government to transfer the Jubilant forces from the BP1 back to Somalia. So what is the Ministry of Interior doing maybe to solve the issue?
That's what I told you earlier. The issue of Al-Shabaab is a daily issue. It's not something that we have been like this for nearly now more than 15 years. We are almost approaching 20 years. We have been in consistent fight since we were even forced to invade Somalia at that point in time by President Kibaki because of the challenges we were facing as a country. So it's a daily problem. You know, we have so many forces, multi-agency teams across our border, from Kiunga from Boni all the way to Mandera and beyond, just to take care of our border. We also need to appreciate that our citizens in Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, and Lamu are bearing the greatest burden as a result of banditry. They are, the biggest problem as a result of banditry. And so it is painful sometimes to see people playing around with conversation about Al-Shabaab. The complexities of governance in Somalia is also spilling over to our country. And the global complex relationship between Houthis, Al-Shabaab, all these characters that facilitate movement of arms and so forth. And then the complex geopolitics of who has what interest in Somalia, globally, also makes it complicated for us to secure our border. So this is a more complex issue. When you talk about forces from Jubaland hiding in Kenya and forces from the Somali government sometimes coming to Kenya, it is the accusations and counter-accusations are always there. Remember that this is one community, okay? Remember that at the border, across the border, the clans are the same. The clans that are in Kenya are clans that are in Somalia. These are just colonial boundaries. But so there is also complexity in terms of knowing this is that. Now, that is not even enough. I mean, so you continue having these challenges in an area that is very vast, extremely vast. But I'm happy that the investment we have put in the country, the technology, the know-how, has helped us secure our nation. And I really want everybody interland who may not be having daily interaction with the challenges of Al-Shabaab to keep praying for our forces and to pray for our citizens at the border level who sometimes bear greatest responsibility to just protect the rest of us who are going about our business every day without fearing about ID or anything else. Thank you.
Okay. And also, will the Jubaland forces be transferred back to their country?
Every person who is illegal in Kenya must leave Kenya. Every person, not just, if we find those Jubaland forces in any part of Kenya, they must leave, The same way we find Al-Shabaab characters in our country and they have to leave. But sometimes they don't just leave by going. You have to fight, you have to do a lot of work to ensure that they leave. So no foreigner will be allowed to operate in Kenya, particularly to carry out military activities in our country. Our country is non-aligned on whatever conflict that may be having in Somalia. Our basic interest is to get rid of Al-Shabaab. That's all.
Thank you so much. Maybe you can have one question as we wind up.
Yes, regarding the Al-Shabaab, some like 4 months ago, 5 chiefs from Mandera were abducted, and you said that you will negotiate with those people who have abducted the chiefs. Whom did you negotiate with? And
you speak like another person who was in another. I did not say I negotiate. We say I told the country negotiations are ongoing. And maybe now I can reveal because our chiefs are safe. Remember that the communities in Kenya are the same communities in Somalia. Maybe that may be of great help. The elders in Kenya took the initiative, and spoke to their elders in the other in Somalia and tried to tell them that to help them pursue the criminals who went with the chiefs. And I'm glad that the elders, because it's one clan. The clan in Kenya is the same clan in Somalia. I'm glad that the elders in Somalia were able to intervene and make sure that using their local mechanisms in their own country helped their colleagues from the part of Kenya without the interference of the government of Kenya. And so ours was just to speak to the government of Somalia to see how best they can be able to help us. And all these other conversations between us and the government of Somalia thankfully led to, and I don't think there's no point for us to try to get the greatest credit. I think, if you ask me, without going into so much detail, that what played a greater role is the family relations on both sides of the border that managed to secure their relatives on the other side from danger, which of course some propagandists have turned it to mean that we have good relationship with the criminals. And I don't know, we did have, the way some of these people are talking is like they wished that the chiefs died. So that, honestly, you know, because if you say that, how else did you manage to bring the chiefs? Why don't you say, hallelujah, the chiefs came? We don't, whether they came like the man who was, you know, this is exactly, let me conclude now that like a pastor that I am. You see the Pharisees in the Bible, when Jesus healed the blind man, the Pharisees were more concerned on how did he heal you? How did he heal you? Are you sure he healed you? And the guy said, my friends, I don't know if he's, no, then they were even cornering him. Do you think he's a good man? He's a son of God. The guy said, I don't know. Whatever he is. I was blind, now I can see. So I think the point anyone should be seeing is that whatever it happened, the chiefs were going to die. They are alive and they are back. And I think that's really, but for someone to want to go all the way to another country and go and say, because the chiefs were returned, it's because they have the president of Kenya has a relationship with Al-Shabaab, or the minister has a relationship with Al-Shabaab. I would rather, if I was a citizen, say, whatever happened, our chiefs had been abducted and they have been returned. And so I have told you today, the real game changer was the family relations on both sides of the border that managed to convince elders on the other side to find all necessary means. I don't know even what means they did to return our chiefs.
Waziri, I've gone through the comments on your Facebook page, and a viewer is asking, was it a coincidence that you toured Nyeri the day when Rigathigachagua was coming back to Kenya from the US?
As a matter of fact, it's not just Rigathigachagua who has come back from US. There are so many Kikuyus from Nyeri who landed today at the airport from different parts of the world. So, and I'm sure there is no reason to single out one of them when there are hundreds of people who travel today to come to the country. Yeah. So I'm in my daily business, and also maybe for his benefit, I'm also home. I come here more often. I have family ties here. So when I'm here, I'm at home, and so I'm okay.
Waziri, let me take you back just a moment, because I think this is a burning question.
Yes.
On the matter of bribery in the parliament. Mm-hmm. You know, the president made very heavy allegations.
Yes.
You know, on the parliamentary leadership, you know, chairmen and members of various committees, including the welfare committee. And he said, actually, what's the job of the welfare committee is to collect bribes. Mm. But then if you say you cannot convert intelligence reports to evidence, maybe the law doesn't allow, or maybe there's a loophole, then what you're saying is the EACC, the asset recovery agencies, have been sleeping on the jobs, because every year it is expected that public servants table their wealth declaration, you know, to the EACC and other agencies. So they've been sleeping on the job. Secondly, are you also saying that after all these allegations, because this intelligence cannot be converted to evidence, then that matter ends there, and no heads are expected to roll?
First of all, Minor, I never said that is exactly what it is. I said I suspect, because I haven't had this conversation with the president. I just said I suspect that the president may be accessing intelligence report, which at the moment is not convertible into evidence, and therefore, instead of waiting for until the time I get this person on the act, it's better to give a warning to everybody. That's what I've said. I may be wrong also, but I could also be right. On the question of that does not preclude, that does not stop EACC from doing its job. EACC daily, in fact, I'm sure I saw Dr. Oginde saying that we wanted to see even further information on this issue, because this is how EACC gets information. It's information from us, information from intelligence, information from different people. And I think that's what drove even the president to bring together all these agencies in the hope that it will assist them to put together the information they want to find. Now, on the issue of whether heads will roll, you know, these are members of parliament, so how will their heads roll? Remember that. We expect, of course, that people are charged regardless of their position. So if any person is in parliament and is perpetrating those issues, it's upon now EACC to prove, and even those people who are asking the president, give us the evidence. Of course, the president cannot give also parliament the same evidence, because parliament is not the investigative agency on issues of corruption. Yeah, they can do investigation for purpose of getting reports and allegations of corruption. But the investigating agency that leads to charging someone is EACC, and also even DCI has power to deal with economic crimes. So, assuming the president has the evidence, do you think he will take it to parliament? Of course not. He will take to EACC. Then EACC has to walk back to work on the investigations. If they find evidence, they will charge the person they charge. I have always said and argued, even when I was in parliament, even when we were being accused when we were in parliament, that if you have committed no offense, yeah, you continue with your work the way it has been. You see, and I don't see the justification for anyone even to be angry about it. You just say that, hey, I'm shocked. If I were in parliament today, as I was before, I would have said, I'm shocked that such things happen in parliament. I hope that the culprits will be charged in a court of law, and that the president will send the information to the relevant agencies, and those agencies will deal with it so that parliament can be able to take administrative action also against them if they are holding chairman of positions or leadership position and so forth. So any message about fighting corruption, for me, it's positive. Yeah. But if you mention me as Kipchumba as a person, then I can now come out and say, put the evidence here, or you retract your statement. But if someone says, like you saw me saying it several times today, that prisons, I mean, not prisons, police, I was even using examples of traffic police officers. And the traffic police officers were there, but I was not pointing at particular one. But I was telling them, Kenyans believe that traffic police is very corrupt. We are collecting bribes and so forth. I don't expect a police officer now in the traffic department, I don't even expect the Inspector General to answer me back and say, provide the evidence. It's common sense. I mean that we are struggling in the traffic sector with corruption. What happens is, it is now for the individual traffic officer to say, I will work hard not to become an example of those people who are committing these offenses. My call to my fellow leaders is that let us take this criticism positively, and let's work towards sorting the issue. Let Sisi in the executive have been accused. We also take it positively and work towards correcting the evil. The same way, the judiciary, I hope, is not going to defend themselves and say they are not corrupt. There are also corrupt elements within the judiciary. And it is important for the Chief Justice to take it positively, and the judges, and they will work together towards resolving the matter.
Maybe we can have one question from Kamal, the last one, as we wind up.
Sorry, Waziri, to take you back to what I had asked earlier in the day, but how easy is it in this country for somebody to get away with crime? This is in reference to what happened with Jumaisi. I'm sure you remember the question. It's with the gentleman who was accused of killing women and dumping them at the quarry, at the quarry place in Embakasi. Because the questions that are there are also allegations that officers who sort of or are thought to have participated in aiding the escaping of that particular suspect are also back at work. So what do you say to the families of those women who were found dumped there? And maybe, because this place is also said to be an active crime scene, the bodies that are yet to be retrieved, if there are.
First of all, let me say that this person, I'm struggling to understand. Why would someone protect such a person? If you may, I may ask you, what would a person at the level of DCI, IG, minister, government protect a madman? You know, a terrible person who went killing people and putting them in sacks and throwing them. Because of what? You see, sometimes I look at people standing there and say, so and so has done nothing. That is the easiest person for any police service to want to take them to court. It's not like there's a political benefit to it. It's not like they're in a position of influence. It's not like they were acting on behalf of anybody. You can tell. I mean, he was going pretentiously to ladies in the next door, conning them, and then after that killing someone. So first, let's start from motive. If the motive was such that there is a gain on the part of National Police Service by protecting him, you would say, okay, yeah, there must be something that someone is trying to gain from it. There is absolutely nothing to gain from that guy. For some reason, as you've said, people can get lost in this country, you know. I am not sure whether he's still alive. So that's the other question. What if he's not alive, you know? What if he's not in the country? What if he's, you know? There are many things that we can think about. But I'm really hoping that that guy can be arrested so that these people can, so that even people can, because it also sends fear. If he is at large and he did such heinous acts, he committed such heinous acts, then there is a possibility that he can repeat the same elsewhere. So it is incumbent upon all of us to be able to do something about it, and we request that we support each other to, as Kenyans, to provide information. And I really hope that DCI will catch up with this person. So that's where we are. That's where we are. That's where we are. And it's a very sad story. It's one of those things that you want, even if you're in National Police Service, to dispense with and do it successfully. Because it's an embarrassment in the first place that he did it. He killed so many people without anyone noticing. Then now he runs away. I mean, despite the fact that we thought he was mentally deranged, he still manages to escape from custody. It is something that is of great concern. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Waziri?
Well, I just want to say that it's been my greatest pleasure to be in Mount Kenya despite the very cold weather, which is unusually very cold at this point in time. The 4 days have been very successful. We believe that tomorrow will also be successful, the 5th day. And I believe that Jukwaa la Usalama will make a big difference in our country. I believe that the decisions we've made today are going to make security in this county better. And I look forward to a more energized human resource, our officers on the ground, for having had time to sit with them. This is bottom-up leadership governance, where the chiefs and the assistant chiefs and OCSs and the rest of the security team plus the citizens who are airing their issues of what we need to do for them in their own county, and I am confident that this will give us great results. We hope to start tomorrow very early because we want to have good time to watch Harambee Stars tomorrow at 5. Please let's rally together to support our team from whatever corners will be. Those who manage to get tickets and they are going to be in Kasarani, we believe that they will do the greatest shouting. I'm hoping to join them. In every match, I've always lost my voice. So I hope we will shout as much as possible to support our team to become successful, but also that we will observe the law like we did in the last match. That will give us, we are now at 80% capacity Kasarani. I am confident that tomorrow we'll succeed. We will be at how much? 100% in the semi-finals. Oh no, sorry, semi-finals is not in Nairobi. Wherever we shall go for semi-finals, I hope. I don't know. Are we going to Tanzania? I think we're going to Uganda. Uganda for the semis. Yeah, I think Uganda for the semis. We don't want to meet Tanzania yet. The best thing that will happen for Kenya and Tanzania, and the match that will be very interesting, is to have Tanzania in the finals. So we also wish Tanzania all the best tomorrow. Hopefully they can make it to semis and then to finals, so that we have a very, very enjoyable match in Kasarani. I don't know. I don't know how we will control. I don't know how we will control the people who will go to the stadium, because that will be really a cracker, you know. And I know why you are laughing. I also know that Uganda is not a joke. For those of you who saw the Uganda match, they made a very serious comeback, especially against South Africa. So Uganda I don't know what will happen to us if we meet Uganda in Mandela Stadium in Kampala. That will be really a big, big challenge for us, but also a very interesting match for us. So either way, we might not miss one of our neighbors, either Uganda or Tanzania. So, and that is fun. I saw some people after my jokes last night about Tanzania. I saw some of my friends who are a bit angry about it. But this is the good thing about sports. It's fun. I have played against Tanzania before, members of parliament, and it's a lot of fun. I have personal friends in Tanzania, and I'm sure they really wanted Kenya. They didn't want Morocco. But Mungu ni nani? So, but we wish them well. We wish each one of us well. This has been an amazing, amazing tournament organized by 3 countries, and this is just but the curtain raiser. 2027 AFCON is the real deal. And we in the security sector really support sports. Where I spoke last night is we were fundraising for our new team to the Premier League, the APS, the Administration Police Service team of Bomet, which has joined the Kenya Police Service team, which was the Premier League champions. So we believe in sports as a way of dealing with mental health and also bringing people together. We shall be in Baringo on Saturday, where communities that have been fighting are going to play with police officers. Thanks to Operation Malisa Walivu, we are making a very good progress. So sports is fantastic. And I am an ardent sports fan, especially football. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Asante sana.
Asante sana Waziri for your time. Thank you.